So here we are then, the second Jeddah ePrix. Let's have a talk about race 2, round 4 of the 11th season of ABB FIA Formula E, the World Championship. And yeah, I was hoping to get this in one hit with the first one. I didn't get enough time to watch the second one in time to make the review. So yeah, it's quite good to be able to have done both of these as separate videos. I think that there are two distinct races to talk about as well, which is something I didn't expect. Without further ado, let's get into it. If you've enjoyed watching so far, well, that'll be impressive. But if you want to follow me for more of this stuff in terms of real-world racing and sim racing, you can always hit the like button, hit subscribe as well. You can hit the bell to get daily video uploads and more, as I end up giving some shorts that are a mix of things that I have done in terms of regular videos and a couple of one-offs as well. But in terms of the stories of the race, it's so hard to say, because if I was able to get a table that had everybody's position at the end of every lap up, then the amount of diagonal lines that there would be, you just lose count. You'd think it would be something somewhat predictable, given the fact that the top 3 on the grid were the top 3 in the race, and it was an all-British podium. In fact, it was an all-British top 4. But then you look at 4th place, Jake Dennis, who started 19th. 5th place, Nick Cassidy, started 17th. 6th place, Stoffel Van Dorn, started last place, 22nd. The only other person in the top 9, well, I was going to say the top 10, but there are 2 who started within the top 10 who finished in the top 10, because Ada Mortara finished 10th, qualified 5th. Dan Ticktum, I think he's also the only person outside of Jake Hughes in the top 10 that finished where they started, qualified 9th. Very few drivers finished where they started in this race. I think they are actually the only 2. Jake Hughes got the fastest lap, Taylor Barnard got the pole, Oliver Roller got the win. Convincing win for Nissan, and it's good for them to have as a bit of a confidence boost, because Norman Nato was down in 15th after qualifying 10th place. He made the most of the attack mode doing the 2 and 6 split, and when Taylor Barnard and Jake Hughes were battling away as their meters were running down, he was able to run off. He was 3 seconds clear going on to the final lap, ended up being nearly 6 seconds clear at the end of the race over Barnard, who, it's been an impressive resume so far from the young Briton. He's in his rookie season. Of course, he's done a couple of starts before from McLaren, subbing in for an injured Sam Bird at the time. But he managed to get one up on Jake Hughes, who managed to continue to get ones up on his teammate Stoffel Van Dorn, who, like I said, started at the back, managed to go all the way through to 6th, because attack mode strategy was one of the big deciding factors, and this is why Jake Dennis charged through. It's why Nick Cassidy was able to get through, as was Stoffel Van Dorn. But also the likes of Pascal Wehrlein started 13th. I mean, Dan Ticktum was running up in the top 5 in the early parts of the race. Lucas de Grassi, who, I've just noticed, you know someone else who finished where he started, right? 16th. But he was up in 2nd because of his early attack mode. Really good look there for the Lola Yamaha apt team. It is so tricky for me to say that name correctly, as you can tell. But it was a good race all around. Were Maserati the only repeat team in the top 10? I think they were. Meanwhile, was it Apt and Envision were the only teams not to get points? There are all kinds of other stories. A 0 to 0 for Max Günther, who went way too deep into the hairpin on lap 1, took out himself and Da Costa to boot. Rich Evans, the non-finisher, he went straight on at one point, turn 14, wasn't it? Only ended up doing about 2/3 of the ePrix. Apart from that, everyone else stayed on the lead lap, even though Maloney and Buemi were being caught by Roland towards the end of the race. And yeah, what a spectacle. Well done to all of those who performed well. Commiserations to those who didn't get the same kind of performance they were looking for. And for some, it was a weekend of 2 different races. I would say for the top 2 it wasn't. But yeah. What it means for the championship standings is Oliver Rowland's in the lead. He's the first repeat winner of season 11. and he's on 68 points despite the non-score in Sao Paulo, which probably could have been a podium there as well. Taylor Barnard, again, somebody else who, when he finishes on the podium. Third, and second. He got a 14th in Sao Paulo. I think that was essentially a non-finish that's classified as well, wasn't it? A bit like Roland. Da Costa, despite that non-finish and being out really early on in race 2 of Saudi, is on 39 points in third. P2, a P2, a P9 in the first race at Jeddah, and then a DNF here. With Gunter in fourth after that win in Jeddah race 1. Likewise, in the manufacturers, Nissan is on 68 points, because Norman Nato hasn't scored any points so far this season. Sam Bird's gotten a handful to help Taylor Barnard, but they're not clear of Nissan. They're only 1 point behind, however. Meanwhile, Porsche have probably gotten the best spread, 64 points. Puts them in third, with DS Penske on 63 in fourth. That's right, we have the 2 Nissan powertrains at the top, then a Porsche, then a DS. Then Stellantis carry on with fifth with Maserati. It's so strange for the Jaguar powertrain to be so far down. It's strange for Andretti to be so far down as well. But the only team that is pointless at this point is Lola. In terms of the manufacturers, overall Nissan are well and truly clear. They're on 130 points, Stellantis on 83, Porsche on 80, Jaguar on 58, then Mahindra on 52, and Lola, because of the way the manufacturers are calculated, have got a solitary point so far. Well done to them. But overall, how would I rate this race? Well, the thing is, it's the same as any Saudi Arabia ePrix or Grand Prix. There is a lot of spectacle there, and that is something that the PIF are able to do when it comes to hosting these events. They're able to get the spectacle on. Now, whether or not you then want to have the political discussion about sports washing, you can do that in your own time. I think I've done a couple of videos about that. One, when the F1 race in Jeddah was initially announced back in 2020. But it's one of those things of course, a state like Saudi Arabia is going to put money into making sure that their grandee events look good. It was a good spectacle. It was decent racing. I would argue that it made more of the track layout than Formula 1 does. I mean, I still think that Diriyah was a better track overall. I think that it suited the ethos of Formula E better. But I don't know. With the stories of Silverstone potentially replacing London, and also Misano having hosted a race last year, I think the Formula E is moving away from the stuff that set it apart from other racing series, which I get that brands have to evolve, but it would be a shame. I mean, I did enjoy the Valencia races. I haven't actually properly watched the Misano ones from last season because it was behind a paywall back then. But with Shanghai as well, and Homestead being the next round, right? It is the way Formula E is going to go. I'm alright with it. I just hope that it doesn't lose what makes it unique. You know, this close quarters racing, this high level of overtakes, the strategy that can be compounded by more, what are sort of originally more gimmicky bits. You know, your attack mode, and now the pit stops. I think it's better racing than F1 still. But anyways, as always, let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, folks. And until next time, it's bye-bye for now.